Bro, on the plane, so like I was sitting here next to like the window, okay? And then there was like this little kid next to me, and then on the other side, I think like maybe like her parents or something. But the dad on the other side has like his like window open, okay? Which is like fine, whatever, sure, it's like a little bright as the sun's like but the kid has an iPad, okay? And for whatever angle that sun was at, it was just like light to iPad to my face. And it's like goes on for like 15 minutes. And it's just like, I don't know what game the kid was playing, but like it was like one of those two. It wasn't just like it was like the little girl was like constantly like moving the iPad. So then, so I was like, I have to say something, right? I can't just go on through this. So I just like asked the kid. It wasn't like a tiny, like the kid was maybe like 8 or 9 or something. So it wasn't like I was like getting ready to scream at some like 3-year-old. No, I had to. I just had to, because I feel like at that point it was like I'm the problem if I don't ask. So I just like I'm not a Karen. I'm not a Karen. I didn't scream at them. Listen, I hated this. I hated this situation. So I was like so I just like asked the kid like but looking back, I don't know, maybe I was just really tired too. So like the question wasn't even like didn't even make sense, but I was like, oh, can you just try to keep the iPad still? Okay, that's all I asked. Like there's so many better things I could have said. And the kid doesn't really like respond, kind of like just like looks at me. So that's when I realized the real problem was I needed to ask the person to close the window. Okay, that was maybe the angle to go with. But then the mom across just hears me like maybe say something. I don't know like what she heard, but then she like looks at me and is like, is there a problem? And I was just saying, and I was like, I'm like, no, not really. Just like this iPad is just like from like the light is like constantly like just like in my face. And she's like, you're allowed to have iPads on a plane. I'm like, that's not the problem. That's not like, I'm not saying she can't have an iPad. I'm just saying like with the window and the iPad and then my eyes and then I could just see like just the goofy goober of a dad kind of like then like look over too. Just kind of looks at me just like, oh, like, oh, I don't know, like what do you want me to do? And then like at this point I'm just so uncomfortable. Like I'm like, now here I am like this kid and then this mom and then this dad and then probably other people are like listening too. Because I realized at this point like it'd be ridiculous for me to keep like trying to make demands from the kid. Okay, so then I'm like look over at the dad. I'm like, would it be a problem if you just like lower like your window a little bit or close it all the way? I forget exactly what I said, but I don't know how this works. But he's like, sorry, I'm like a little like plane sick is what he said. He kind of just like looks at me like, oh, sorry, like a little plane. Like, is that like a thing? Like you leave the window, you can look at, like, is that a thing? And then at that point, you know, he gives me that answer. I'm like, oh, great. So now at this point, like, no matter what, like I'm just I'm the bad guy now. I was like, you know what, no worries, like don't worry about it. I'll just figure it out. Like that's literally what I sound like, I'll just figure it out. But then basically like how it sums up though was just the mom then kind of like looks at me again. He's like, if you have any problems, like talk to me, not my kid. And I'm like I guess that's like kind of a reasonable thing, but also like I wasn't like screaming at your kid. I was just asking, but then like and I was like, okay, I give up. No, I'm sure I went on a Facebook rant. I'm sure like she probably later went on Facebook and said this terrible immature. She probably like looked at me like terrible immature 17, 18-year-old teenager has no respect yelling at my kid. So yeah, there you go. That was my plane story.